Government to declare a state of emergency. Why so long?
Yes, well, because initially when the salvage team was in Mauritius, they are the experts and we have to rely on their advice. So throughout they said that there was a very low risk of oil spilling and that they were trying to stabilize the ship and in order to try to tow it out. So weather conditions did not also permit that we start pumping the oil from the tanks. So we of course go by the advice of those experts. Unfortunately, the weather deteriorated so much that one of the tanks was damaged and oil started to spill over. Even at that time, we could not start pumping from the tank because the weather conditions were still very bad. We were advised that the pipes could break and therefore, and also that lives of people could be put at risk. So fortunately, on the 7th, when the weather was more accommodating, then all the setup was put into place and then the pumping started. So we were able to, in fact, empty one of the tanks where there was a spillage. Again, the weather started deteriorated again. There were waves up to more than 3 meters, and therefore we all the way we have gone along by the advice of the salvage team.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
critics and many local people are saying that the government hasn't done enough, the response hasn't been quick enough. We've interviewed people who've been out on beaches trying to clean up some of the mess themselves, trying to save local wildlife, who are very upset that these beautiful pristine waters which the country relies on for tourism are being damaged, and that they see a huge amount of inaction from the government and feel that you owe them an apology.
Well, we are also very concerned and very sad that this has happened. But all along, we have mobilized all the resources that were available.
Being more resources available, Prime Minister, given that your government is responsible for 2.3 million square kilometres of this maritime space, shouldn't there have been a better action plan in place for something like this?
Well, we have, of course, reviewed our protocol with regard to oil spilling, but of course it was never expected that we could have such a catastrophe. And let me say this, it reminds me also of COVID-19. What happened initially when we were faced with the pandemic, when we were not prepared because we didn't have enough equipment, enough medication. Urgently we ordered whatever we could in terms of those equipment. And now, for so many months now, we have no local contamination in Mauritius. Now we are being criticized. Why is it that we have ordered so much of medication and so much of equipment? This is the same thing that is happening. So we are faced with such a very catastrophic situation, causing damage to the environment. I have appealed to everybody, and I must say I'm very...
We have lost the line there to Prime Minister Pravind Jugnauth of Mauritius there, outlining what he believes his government has done to try and mitigate the oil spill that is threatening the pristine waters of Mauritius. That's it from me.